So my name is Diyali, and I have come from Dubai. And this is, I think, the end of my fellowship. 5 days more. And this is where I am. Firstly, and this is what I was even explaining to Nancy yesterday. That firstly, because I come from a very big metropolitan modern city like Dubai, so the city experience is pretty much the same, other than it's just another city in the world, um, with slightly different, of course, demographics and the way the system works and all of that. Other than that, for me, this is the first time that I have been alone for so long by myself. For so long, the operative word, because it's not that I have not been, but so living alone and uh, planning my day ahead alone and going and dealing with it by myself, that has been different, and I have realized that has been different. Also, I've been just seeing the differences, not the similarities, because I don't need to. So another thing being that I've had to also be very mindful about safety issues, also mindful about not missing out on anything, because time doesn't repeat itself, and if I miss out, then I just miss out. And I've realized that once you experience something, you experience it, and it's not that you can't say, oh, I missed it out, I'll come back again. That never really happens. So I've been very mindful of that I should not miss out on these experiences. So that has kept me really on my toes at all times, because I've had to look out for myself, and then also everything I've been observing and immersing myself and absorbing. So I think all in all, if I were to put how the fellowship was to me, was a very insightful, educative, life turning experience. I think I've learned a lot about myself. And a very important thing that I've learned about myself is I like my company best. And I was able to actually do all of the experiences, even the ones that I was unfamiliar with, though. I was not uncomfortable with anything, honestly, but things that I didn't know how I would be. I went into all of it with a sense of wonder. Like, say, okay, I don't know, let me see how it pans out. And I think that has been very educational for me, because I would not do that. I was telling Stephen also the other day that I would not definitely choose to do many of the things, simply because I don't have so much free time in my life to experiment in such a wide degree. So, but I'm glad I did it, because I've realized one thing, which is a very important realization I think I've had, that sometimes when we do something completely random, really random, something that I would not need in my life, something that I would not get to learn anything from, really honestly, and I just go and do it. You know, either it might be an activity or a class or anything. There's always something that that particular experience teaches, and that's what I learned. That okay, so this is this. Like for example, the music theory class. Honestly, I'm a visual artist. I'm not a auditory person. I don't really listen to music or feel it. I am more of a silence person. Like when I work, I need complete silence. So I know people work with music, and a lot of my friends who live with music, my family too, they're like, "What's with you?" But silence is a sound I love. So music is not really something that I do too much at all, actually. So when I was learning the theory, I said, see, there is a process in everything. In every, just like art has a process as well, however freeing it might be, that people think there's a process to learning it. There are techniques that one learns, and I always knew music had, but to actually see the depth of what it went to was interesting. Of course, I was a complete seed with the class. But just to know that there was a process which was so interesting to some people, and to some people like me, it was like, so that was really lovely. But this has been very enjoyable because, and a wonderful departure from my normal life, because I'm really busy with my work, my home, my family, and kind of doing things for everybody and everything. Um, that what I did not realize, which I realized what this fellowship did for me, was that by bringing me completely out, and I think that's the objective also, bringing me completely out of my zone, where there was just no connection whatsoever, that I was able to get this very valuable time to myself. And also, I think, and I have to add this, that the fellowship is not so labor intensive and time intensive, where I I found that, I mean, the whole day went by and I was so tired I didn't have time to do anything else. It's not. It's very beautifully paced, and I think thanks to Nia, everything was so well thought out. And I have to mention, because every day when I look at the program, I said she really thought about, I mean, where to reach at what time, and what I'm going to be doing, and what I'm going to be doing even after that, which is balanced out, and it's not like, back to back the same sort of experience. So, yes, thank you for that. I think that was very thoughtful. And for every activity, for me, going there is half the job done, really. And then the activity is the other half. So if the activity doesn't happen, I still think I have achieved by just going there. I mean, and I feel it is a life lesson that when we are on a journey and we think we have to arrive at a certain point, maybe that's not the point to arrive. Maybe the journey is the most important thing. I've lived by that rule always, and I still do. And things do happen. Things cancel. I wake up in the morning with a sense of wonderment is a word that I use, because what is today going to bring for me? So hence, every activity that Apex Art has kind of scheduled for me has been one such. Even the French film on the green, I honestly thought I will not sit through the whole film, because I was standing. I didn't take a mat, or it had rained the night previous, everything was wet. Uh, but I found myself standing and I watched the whole film, because it was an interesting film, very lovely film, very empowering, and all of that. Mm. Though we had a little bit of rain by the end of it, that was another thing that I didn't expect. But the Chinese writing class. Um, Now, Chinese is definitely one of the things, or one of the languages that I know, out of all the things I want to learn, that's definitely not one that I would want to learn. Because there are so many things. But like, I'm trying to learn Spanish for quite a while now, and I don't know how it will be in use for me. It's something that I just wish to learn. And I think, and that helped me when I was in the Bronx and some areas, even in Queens, when I did the tortilla making workshops, where they don't speak English, and I could say a few words and a few sentences in Spanish, and it was very nice because I could. Uh, but so when I was in Chinese writing class, so two things happened, which again, to the sense of wonder, that here I am in a class where I know I don't want to learn Chinese for sure. And this is, I mean, ever. I'm not going to find it interesting enough, or whatever it is that I would learn. It was just not my purview of things to do. Um, but I'm there doing the activity, and when I'm doing the activity, I have to be fully immersed in it. I mean, that's me. I can't do anything half-heartedly, because it just has to be there. And then also, I'm very competitive. So if in case then she gave a test, I have to do the test well, and I did it, and I passed the test, and she was like, oh, they were clapping and all that. Like, oh wow! Even the pronunciation in Chinese language is very tough, and their alphabets are different, because it's just structures that are put together in a way to form even a sentence, which looks like an art form to me, because they are lines put together crisscrossing each other. But the pronunciation of those words, and I learned, and I was like, oh great. So anything that, even if you don't want to learn, you know You do. So again, that was a thing of wonder for me that the brain is a soaking machine at in anything. So I think we are constantly learning whether we are mindful or not. It's just going in some way. So I like that. I think a lot of these experiences which I didn't want to have, but I had them. That's what it did to me. You know, seeped in somewhere. I honestly went into everything with no expectation. Because everything was new. Everything was something that Most of everything was something that other than the cardio sculpt class, which I did, which was, um, I mean, I already know. First funny thing I have to admit is the hip hop cardio class. So I'm not a dancer. And though it was all about cardio and stuff like that, I've seen it on TV and all of that. And the class was full of all of these women. My first instinct was that I'm just going to stand there. But I was like, no. I mean, I have to join in and do whatever I can, and nobody's judging me for what it is, and I don't care, even if they do. So that was something that I was like, I don't know, had a big question mark, and I ended up doing it. And by the end of it, it was very tiring because a lot of jumping and all of that. Mm, Versus the other kind of workout that I do, which is not so much raising the heart rate. But I went through the whole thing. It was quite interesting. If you ask me, would I do hip hop again? Absolutely not. No, but I'm glad I did that. Because I would not have liked anything on the schedule. And what also helped was, when I was filling up the Google form by the end, that I would not like anything to go undone. To be fair to the program, you know. So that's why I've stayed through all of them. Yes, initially. So initially, actually, the initially and mainly, my main challenge was, like I mentioned before, the public transport, because of two things. One, I have never really used public transport, and second, I've always been a little fearful of missing a train or not knowing where I'm going when my sense of direction is zero. Um, and also finding my way on the road, walking, taking wrong turn, or whatever, not knowing the rules, stuff like that. So, and challenging only, and I realize now, challenging only because I had never done it before, and because I had not ventured to do it before. I could have. I mean, I've traveled all over Europe. I could have easily done it, but I just took an Uber wherever I had to go, because there was always an option. Here, I didn't take that option, you know. Um, and I realized challenge is only when one doesn't know. If you already know it, then it is no challenge. And to know it, it doesn't take time, because the human body, the physiology, and the psyche is already made and trained to absorb anything that happens, because somebody's already done it. So it's already there in the collective consciousness. So it's not something that is completely new. That's what I feel. So once I got over that the first day, in fact, when near you took me out that first day, and I realized, oh, okay, so it's just a matter of knowing where to go. And I think the second thing that I learned was that if I didn't know anything, the trick is to go into it confidently, because you trick your mind into thinking you already know it. Because if I went into something thinking that I don't know, and I don't know what is going to be, and I'm caught with fear, the fear will remain, you know. So I just used to confidently walk into the station and on my way. So that, I think, in the third day, I got a very good grip of that, so that stopped being a challenge. I'm still finding it a challenge to walk to places, because again my sense of direction is still not honed. But I mean, finding my way now is more fun. Hence, I get out earlier so that I can still reach that place on time because I know I'm going to get left, right, center, somewhere I'm going to go somewhere. So, yeah. And I've been asking people around, so that helps. Yeah. First and foremost, to really come in with, be prepared in the sense that, I mean, and this is completely my perspective, what helped me, and hence I'm giving the tip from that perspective. Other people might not want to do it, but what helped me, and that's the tip I would advise on, is watch the exit interviews of artists, read their journals, a little bit, even if it is not too much. Read about Apex Art, what their objectives are, what do they do, the exhibitions that they have, and what they stand for. It gives a very good idea of where we're going as a fellow, and what Apex Art is all about, and how different it is from any other program that you've done. That helps a lot. This pre-study, I think, is important. Second point is to come without any expectation. Number one, and to come without any thought about, I don't like this, I won't do this, and all of that, because it would be surprising, but it's not challenging beyond the point. Like I said, Nia is very kind. And also, the third tip would be, which I did, was if there is something that you just can't do, like, say, for example, I cannot swim. It's not something that I can learn or I can experiment with. So it's good to be clear on that front, because then she will give activities which is going to be fitting. Yeah. And I think the final and the most important tip is to keep the sense of wonder, because you can very easily miss some things, whether it's on the subway or doing the activities that we do, that we might miss it because we are dealing with the questions within ourselves, that we might just miss it and it doesn't come back. So to have that open eye all the time is very important.